So you admire what you think is the coolest girl in school, only to realize that she's not the world's most genuine person after all. If you're Alex Mack, what do you do? Find out in this week's episode. Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. I'm RazMansReality, here to alter your reality with another video on the secret world of Alex Mack Season 1. This is False Alarms. So if this is your first time here and film, TV, and comics is your passion, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification icon so that you don't miss anything. If you're a longtime fan of this series, you will notice that the immediate change is now that I'm no longer showing my face, and if you don't follow me on social media and don't know my reasons behind that, are simply that I want to produce more content for you. This is my busiest time of year. We're actually going to have 7 days worth of content, so because of the rendering speed of my computer, cutting out face cam entirely allows videos to arrive to you sooner. So with that being said, let's jump in to the episode. But real quickly, as always, I like to remind anyone who's seeing this series for the first time that if you would like to follow along with the secret world of Alex Mack with me, and you haven't already picked up the DVD, you can do so at no extra cost to you via my Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. This episode begins with us learning that recently a student at Atron Junior High has been illegally pulling the fire alarm. So a fireman is here to lecture the kids on fire safety and the dangers of falsely pulling the fire alarm. So the episode starts out with Alex in a fantasy about saving the class with her powers. So here we see her with the fire started in the bucket and utilizing her telekinesis to raise the axe up. You then see her with the axe in hand looking back at Ray, who just said, "Go for it, Alex," and Alex is saying, "I'm just doing what anyone would do if they were me." She then throws the axe through the door, knocking it down, utilizes her telekinesis to float the fire extinguisher to her and put out the fire. She has everyone showering her with praise, saying Miss Mack and all of the great things that she did, as she's awarded with a medal and gets to wear the entire fire suit, only to discover that everyone saying Miss Mack is actually just her teacher saying that to her, trying to get the fireman's helmet back, who had been passed to her as the helmet was being passed around the classroom. We then meet Libby, who Alex feels is the coolest girl in school. Alex is desperate to try to get her attention, so she pretends to be glad that Libby asked the teacher what a midterm exam was, claiming that she wasn't sure herself, only to have Libby tell her she was just kidding and then blow her off for her real friends. Nicole and Ray tell Alex that she shouldn't waste her time with Libby, that she's a slime ball and they don't trust her, so why is she so desperate to get her attention? We then see her trying to butter up the teacher by asking for extra reading material for the exam. Ray overhears this and immediately feels as though this has to be disingenuous, only to have his suspicions confirmed as he tries to return the dropped on purpose by information to Libby, who says she has better things to do than read, and proceeds to roll the paperwork up into a ball and toss it back to him. Meanwhile, Alex is very, very nervous about her midterm exam because she's never had one before, and overhears her family worrying about her and not feeling as though she will be able to get a good grade all on her own. So she decides to work extra hard to prove them wrong, utilizing her telekinesis here to keep everything on an eye level that she needs to study simultaneously and achieve a better studying environment. And I gotta say that for me personally, this is one of my favorite ever uses of her powers, because I know that when I was studying for tests, I would have killed to have the ability to look at everything all at the same time. It is now the day of the midterm exam, and Alex has forgotten her book. So she goes back to her locker only to hear that the fire alarm is going off again. She looks around trying to figure out who may have done this, and sees a bracelet that is worn by Libby, immediately putting two and two together. Alex is then accidentally caught with her hand on the fire alarm as she was simply investigating, trying to close the fire alarm herself. Alex decides that she's not going to rat out Libby and instead take the fall for her. Naturally, Nicole and Ray question why in the world she would ever do this and take the fall for something that Libby did. And Alex explains it's not a big deal. We don't know the whole story. Maybe Libby didn't mean to do it. Maybe her bracelet was just caught there. So, once again, her friends know something that she doesn't know. Immediately afterwards, we see an apparently very grateful Libby telling Alex that they have to hang out sometime and giving Alex one of those trademark bracelets. The very bracelet that Alex returned to her after realizing that it was lost by her in the bush and taking the fall. We then see Libby at Alex's house with her friends, convincing Alex to prank call a boy that they think is cute because everyone else has done it. Alex does it, and Libby says, "I'm telling you something, Alex, we're going to have a lot of fun together." Nicole and Ray decide one last time to make a futile attempt to tell Alex that she just cannot trust Libby, that she's not genuine about her friendship with Alex whatsoever. And you can see how frustrated Alex is by this, as her best friends just simply are jealous of her new status and just won't get off her back. Moments later, however, Alex forgets her book yet again, as the test has been rescheduled for a second time, only to discover Libby once again pulling the fire alarm, this time catching her red hot in the act. She realizes that she has to stop her and allow her to be caught for what she's done. So this is the only time that we see what we normally see in terms of the zapping power being formed by telekinesis. And this was only done by the writers so that Alex could easily deny that she had actually done something to Libby. So a little bit of a continuity error, but still pretty cool, as we see Libby's feet just entrenched into the ground at this moment. Alex informs Libby that she may want her bracelet back and utilizes her telekinesis to float it in the air in front of her, having it land on the fire extinguisher and allowing her to be caught. Libby then one final time futilely attempts to blame the incident on Alex Mack, saying that Alex Mack set her up, and claims that Alex is hiding in the locker. In fact, Alex just did this to make Libby think that that's where she was, and instead utilized her morphing ability to hide successfully under the locker long enough for the frustrated teacher to realize the real truth and take Libby away for her punishment. Alex winds up getting an A on her exam. Her teacher cautions her to never take the fall for anyone else again. She says she won't. Alex's real friends once again remind her how much they've told her so about Libby. Libby tries to confront Alex and say that she knows something is really weird about her. Of course, Alex blows this off and says that she has no idea what she's talking about, and we never see Libby again in the history of the show. So it was a threat of the discovery of her powers that was never followed through again by the writers, which is a real shame because it would have been kind of an interesting conflict to see. But as always, the moral of the story is never try to be someone you're not, and always stick by the friends who truly have your back. And just as a side note to end this breakdown, what is it with 90s girls named Libby. Sabrina the Teenage Witch fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so right now by hitting the round subscribe icon on the left hand side of your screen. You can check out the Secret World of Alex Mack playlist to see any Mack Monday episodes you might have missed, and support RazMansReality on Patreon. And as always, this has been your RazMansReality check.